Okay, thanks everyone for coming in. We'll call the meeting to order for November 11th. Is there any declarations of conflict of interest? Councillor Rivard.
Yes, thank you. So under planning, under number 5, which is the corner Tower Road Manavert, as well as number 9, which appears to be the reconsideration for the same application. So I'll be commenting those two.
Okay, thank you. So we have that.
What's that? 5 and 9.
Thank you. Can we get approval of the agenda? Have it moved and seconded? Thank you very much.
There's a change.
Yes.
Agenda.
Sure, okay. I also, Deputy Mayor, under planning, number 8, I would like to have deferred, just for the, and we can ask for the official plan and
Okay.
all that, yeah.
Okay.
So I'll ask for a motion.
You have to move off the agenda to refer it back to committee.
But back to committee, there's some new information from the
And I'll second that.
Okay, and
Okay, so we have moved in second, and Mr. Forbes had his hand up.
You can deal with this issue,
Okay.
but then if you would indulge me 2 seconds
Okay.
after that.
So a deferral on that
Yeah.
On the
issue
water
is
lots.
moved in second. So all in favor of deferring it back to the
What are we deferring?
Water lots discussion.
Oh, yes, okay.
some new information?
yeah, new information.
Okay, so that's been deferred.
Yeah.
Oh, and Councilor Tweel's on the line. Councilor Tweel, you okay with that deferral on the water lots?
In favor.
Thank you.
Refer back to committee.
Exactly, yeah. Refer it back to committee
To the
is what
committee,
you
yes,
asked.
yeah.
Okay.
Thank you.
So that's great. Just need adoption of the previous minutes from October 12th. There were special meetings on the 18th and 25th of October, and planning meetings on September 28th and October 26th. Moved by Councillor Ramsey and second by Councillor Yankoff. Okay, perfect. And just to let everyone know, Mayor Brown will be joining us. He's just running a little bit late. He had a prior commitment before this meeting, so he will be joining us. Is there any business arising out of those minutes?
I just have, I want to clarify, thank you. I know we had some discussion, and I can't remember if it was a special meeting or a committee meeting about an opportunity for councillors to have some awareness around some closed meeting agenda items. And I understand that there was a reason with the MGA and stuff why certain items can't be made public. But I'm wondering if we could look at the process again so that we all do have access to that information of what's discussed in closed meetings, if that could be something to look
We'll
at.
take it back.
Okay, so senior staff will take it back.
Okay,
Yeah.
thank you.
Okay, thank you. Okay, so we can move on to reports. We can start with planning and heritage. Councillor McLeod.
Thank you very much, Deputy Mayor and Acting Mayor. So the Planning and Heritage Committee did not meet in November, therefore there are no reports. The Planning Board met on Monday, November 1st. Copies of the Planning Board and minutes are in the package. The Heritage Board met on October 19th. The copies of the Heritage Board and minutes are in your package. The Design Review Board met on October 21st. Copies of the Design Review Board report and minutes are there for your leisure. And also the Affordable Housing Advisory Committee met on October 19th. A copy of the Affordable Housing Advisory Committee minutes are there as well, with a letter attached to council. And I'll do my best to answer any questions I can. Thank you.
Oh, okay, so I was on Mr. Ford.
Yeah, Your Worship, I'm just going to, on 38 Thomas Lane, I'm going to declare conflict and just step out when you're dealing with that one, then I'll come back in when it's finished.
Okay. Any other questions before we get it? Oh, Councillor. Yeah.
Councilor McLeod, did you say that the Planning and Heritage Committee did meet? Because we met on Friday.
We meet on Friday? Oh, council advisory met on Friday.
No, council advisory met on Thursday.
Jeez, I'm all lost.
We met on Friday.
That's how many meetings there are, folks, when you get lost.
That was fairly close to council, so it just didn't make it in its package.
Right, I just.
Okay, didn't make
yeah,
it.
yeah.
Thanks for telling me, keep me up to
No
rest.
problem. It was a lovely meeting, y'all had muffins.
Oh, that's right, we had muffins.
Councilor McCabe?
Thank you. And Councilor McLeod, in the recently issued technical background report pertaining to regulating our short-term rentals in Charlottetown, specifically section 7.3C, it was referenced to establish cost recovery by applying the tourism accommodation levy licensing, or levy for additional revenue to offset any costs associated with the operation of the licensing program, so whether that was for software. But as we're aware, the tourism accommodation levy is not taxpayer dollars, nor is it meant for this purpose. So as such, the proposed cost recovery method is not going to work. And I understand that staff from my department have already been communicating with staff from your department on this item, and I just would like to have clarification and confirmation that this is the case. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Councilor McCabe, for bringing that up. Yes, so in error, it was included in the report. Since that, staff have corrected it, it's downloaded onto our website, the proper language around it, and that language is that the fees will come from an STR license fee, not from the town. So it was just an overstep on our part, and sorry for any confusion we caused, but it's now corrected, and staff have done a great job. And I believe Robert will address that too at the meeting tomorrow evening.
Perfect.
Good, thank you.
Okay, so we can move on to first resolution.
Your worship, moved by Councilor McLeod, second by Councilor McCabe, that the request for a major variance to extend the non-conforming use commercial office space within the existing building at 240 Fitzroy PID 344994 be approved.
Any questions?
Questions called?
Questions called. All in favor? Councilor Tweel, in favor?
In favor.
In favor. Carried 9-0. Thank you.
Your worship, moved by Councilor McLeod, second by Councilor McCabe, that the request for a major variance request to extend the legal non-conforming use, i.e. allow the existing eating and drinking establishment at 35 Prince Street, PID 337079, Eat and Enjoy, be approved subject to the amending the development agreement with the following conditions. 1, allow the existing eating and drinking establishment to obtain a dining room liquor license. 2, liquor will only be served inside the establishment. And 3, business hours will only be until 9 p.m.
Thank you. Any questions? Councilor Yankovic?
And if I may,
Yeah.
can I direct it to?
You certainly can.
Mr. Forbes, you were going to do a little digging for us on the options of different liquor licenses. Did you
I
do
did.
that?
Your worship. So I did call the liquor licensing board. The lowest level license they have is called a dining room license, and it's basically what he's asking for. You have to serve alcohol. There's a couple of little exceptions. If somebody comes in, your friend or whatever, they can order 2 drinks if they don't eat. But if they order, there's a trigger there that you have to eat and drink. That's the whole intent of it. So it's in the resolution there. The dining room liquor license is what they would be provided, and that only. Thank you, Your Worship.
Okay.
Thank you.
Councilor Duffy?
Thank you, Chair. This application, or this issue has been kicking around for quite a while. What it boils down to is these people that run this small enterprise on the corner of Prince and was it Dorchester or King or whatever, they open at 10 o'clock in the morning. They close by 8 o'clock in the evening. There has been some damage down around that part of town in the summertime, but that damage has occurred around midnight, 1 o'clock, 1:30 in the morning. These people are not involved in that whatsoever. They seem to be bearing the brunt of public opinion by some people. So some councillors have visited the site, and it's quite nicely done. Like I say, they're only open from 10 in the morning till 8 in the evening. They might sell 2 or 3 bottles of beer or a glass of wine there, somebody with their meal. It is not a drinking establishment as we would know, drinking establishment. So I will not be supporting the rejection of the application. I will be voting for it because there's 2 letters, one for and one against, and the one that's against the establishment is is the one I think suffered some property damage, but not by these folks. So I think it's unfair to say no. Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you.
Just to clarify, Councilor Duffy, so the staff's original recommendation was to reject, but censor, and then we went back to, and we deferred it and went back to planning board,
Yes.
and we had a great discussion on it.
Yes.
There's, wonders amount of letters of support come through, so the actual motion actually says to accept now.
Yes, but
Yeah.
keep it in mind, thank you, Councilor McLeod, keep it in mind that we have a conflict between the staff recommendation and the board recommendation. I'm just explaining why I
Yeah,
am
okay.
going with the board.
Okay.
And this is highly unusual for me to go ahead for the staff. So I'm just I'm just doing what I was asking other people to do in the former.
Good, thank you very much.
Thank you.
Okay.
I might just note too that, as council for the area, there was quite a bit of work done by, quite a few of the residents in the area too, with the petition and things like that. So I too will be supporting planning board's recommendation to keep in their liquor license.
No other questions? All in favor?
Your Worship,
Oh, sorry, Councilor Twill.
can you please repeat the resolution?
It's to approve.
Your Worship, moved by Councilor McLeod, second by Councilor McCabe, that the request for a major variance request to extend the legal non-conforming use, i.e. allowing the existing eating and drinking establishment at 35 Prince Street, PID 337079, Eat and Enjoy, be approved, subject to the amending the development agreement with the following conditions. 1. Allow the existing eating and drinking establishment to obtain a dining room liquor license. 2. Liquor will only be served inside the establishment. And 3. Business hours will only be until 9 p.m.
Thank you, Peter.
Okay, all in favor? Okay, those opposed? Councilor Twill?
In favor.
Carried 9-0, thank you.
Your Worship, moved by Councilor McLeod, second by Councilor McCabe, that the request to amend Appendix G, zoning map of the zoning and development bylaw from low-density residential to narrow single-detached residential for the property located at 3 First Street, PID 276501, in order to permit the subdivision of the lot into 2 separate parcels, with proposed lot 21-1 occupied by a new single-detached dwelling, and proposed lot 21-2 occupied by the existing single-detached dwelling, be approved to proceed to public consultation.
Thank you.
No questions, Tom?
No questions? Okay.
It's only going to public comment.
Just a question.
Go ahead, Councilor Twill.
So what is it currently zoned as now?
R2.
R2?
Yeah,
It's in the resolution.
yeah, and it's going to narrow, single, detached residential, R1.
Okay.
Okay, all in favor? Those opposed? Councilor Twill?
In favor.
Thank you, carried 9-0.
Your Worship, moved by Councilor McLeod, second by Councilor McCabe, that the request to amend Appendix A, future land use map of the of the City of Charlottetown official plan from low density residential to medium density residential for 38 Palmer's Lane, PID 275156. 2, to amend Appendix G of the zoning map of the zoning and development bylaw from low density residential, R2 zone, to the medium density residential townhouse zone for 38 Palmer's Lane, PID 275156. And 3, to amend Appendix G of the zoning map of the zoning and development bylaw from apartment residential, R4 zone, to the medium density residential townhouse zone for a portion of the property at 40 Palmer's Lane, PID 275164. And 4, consolidate 38 Palmer's Lane, PID 275156, with a portion of 40 Palmer's Lane, PID 275164. Be approved, subject to the signing of the development agreement and on the final PIN survey plan.
Thank you. Councilor Durham.
Thank you, Worship. I have some major concerns about this development. I'll just say a few points. We all attended the public meeting. Letters were given out 100 meters, and I think that would include about half the street. So there's a lot of residents in that area didn't get proper notification about the meeting, and some of them are intimidated to come and speak their mind about this type of thing. This is a major development. Mr. Mund and our staff both have stated that this will provide a transition between the commercial and higher density development to the east. Now, I go down there today and there's a commercial business on the highway, or St. Peter's Highway. Then there's a 12 unit and a 12 unit, and then there's an empty space which was a single family home. I mean, it's R2, which could provide a nice duplex there. So when staff and the architects say it provides a transition, I can't see that in my own mind. How does another 12 units, provide a transition? You're just adding to the problem. A lot of these homes on Palmer's Lane are single family homes. It's a nice neighborhood. We're struggling with traffic in the area. We have a weekly count of people speeding in the area. We have a police officer down there pretty near every day or every second day trying to slow things down. Plus, we're not asking for one variance here. There's four. We're amending the future land map of the city. We're doing the zoning development bylaw, twice for medium R2 down or R3. And then we're consolidating 2 parcels of land. There's no green space. I know you say, or we're told that, this would provide housing. It might provide housing for certain people, but for families, there's no green space for the kids to play. Are we allowing an R2 to jump right into R3? To me, I struggle with the recommendation here that, it's a nice duplex lot. It could provide a family home to, a major development here. So I ask council just to give this a sober second thought. I know we're all pushed for housing in the city. I don't think we're pushed for this type of housing. We have lots of housing on the go. Affordable housing is another issue. I don't think, and when I ask the question about affordable housing, there's no affordable housing in these units. So there's a lot of flags here that I would like, to see this downgraded, but, I just ask council to use their wisdom in discussing and voting for this. Thank you.
Okay. Thanks, Councillor Durham. Councillor Duffy.
Thank you. I'd just like to remind council that the night of the public meeting, I believe, all residents that did get letters or were notified some way or the other, everyone who went to the microphone was in favor. And these were the same people that were super critical on other applications for this piece of land. This particular applications, they were really strongly opposed to it. I don't think there was anybody else that spoke against the development at the public meeting. Am I right or wrong?
Thanks, Councillor Duff. Any other questions or comments?
Yes,
Okay, Councillor Tweel.
thank you. One of the letters that came in following the next day, residents on Federation Street, and with your permission, Your Worship, I'd like to read the letter for council's information. Good morning. Thanks for your comments and questions at last night's public meeting. They addressed many of the concerns we had. We submitted these concerns before the meeting's time and on 3 other occasions when this lot was trying to be developed. We are still hoping for a sober second thought on this because we are affected in a way that is a bit different than the resident of Palmer's Lane. Our lot directly borders the lot in question. We live in Confederation Street. And our view of the lot is not nearly as good as that of the residents of Palmer's Lane. Our concerns are mainly for runoff, garbage disposal, snow removal, and all other problems that arise when adding 12 families to a zone or to a lot. These have been the problems we've encountered from the other 2 apartment buildings, and since it is the same developer, we have reservations. It's never been approachable when we had concerns in the past. It would be interesting to hear what the residents of the 2 apartment buildings have to say to the comment by the architect that presents the parking lot is too big and would readily accommodate even more vehicles while using the one and only driveway for all. He did email us on the weekends seeking our support for the project, and we listed all of our concerns at that time again. So they're very aware, although that was not mentioned at the meeting. The architect said he canvassed the neighborhood by email, and at the 11th hour was the only contact we had. It's always good to listen to each other's concerns, and indeed there have been improvements with each proposal, but only because the residents spoke up. We think a smaller scale project is still the right fit and will satisfy both sides to keep the present zoning. We are all wary of these repeated proposals. It's very hard to fight something like this without the resources that the developer has at his disposal. So we urge you to consider our situation before you vote. And having said that, Your Worship, some of the concerns again in opposition, including illustrating the planning board's report, allude to concerns about surface water runoff, garbage disposal from the development, the scale and density of the project's too big, concerns about traffic issues, and the increased traffic from high-density developments on Mount Edward Road and St. Peters Road. And this represents piecemeal development, encroachment of high-density development in a low-density neighborhood. And I'd like to reiterate what Councillor Ron said about traffic. I can tell you in Palmer's Lane, speeding traffic, excessive traffic, Palmer's Lane being used as a shortcut. This goes on 365 days a year. It's also a school street. Buses are going up and down the street as well. This does change the dynamic of the street, and as I asked the presenter there that night, the architect, that you looked at the entire street, the majority of the properties on that street are single-family homes. So once again, you know, we're not against development. We just want the right development, and it puts us in an awkward situation because, as was pointed out here earlier, yes, some of the folks that attended the meeting spoke in favor, but we have letters that were opposed. So before I vote, I'd like to get my issues that I highlighted on behalf of the residents. I would like them effectively addressed.
Okay, we'll get to them. Councilor Bernard has his hand up first.
Thank you. I, like Councilor Duffy, I'm a little surprised. We're at the meeting and we go to these meetings and we listen to some of the feedback. And this particular one I thought was a lot of praise to the developer. This was similar to what happened at Rocky Point Road when there was development come in. People spoke against it. They've been back, I believe this is the third time now. My understanding from the people who live in the area that up to speak were saying what a great job the developer did, and now they're on side with it. This is a development they can live with. It looks, this is great for the community. So I too thought that this was kind of like everybody was happy. I guess one of those things you can't have everybody happy, but I mean that particular meeting, I didn't hear anybody speak against it either. So anyway, Your Worship, I was planning on giving it my vote of approval because everybody seemed happy with it. And like you say, the same as the Rocky Point Road, there's examples given where what a good job the developer to actually go and talk to the people door to door and explain the process and any issues some of them had to try and work them out before he came here for a final design. And that's what I thought happened with Palmer Lane, and everybody was happy.
Okay, thanks, Councilor Bernard. Councilor McKay.
Yep, and thank you, Councillor Beal, for refreshing our memory with that letter from the resident, because we did have discussion around those concerns at our planning board. And we were assured that the drainage issues, the garbage issues, the infrastructure stuff around the property would be dealt with as they apply for their building permits and stuff, so that actually it'll probably help with those, is what we were told on planning board. The speed, the traffic is an issue everywhere, as we know, and we hope people are listening and maybe start following the rules, but that's kind of beyond anybody's control in this room. So, just to let you know that those issues were discussed, and we were assured that they would be dealt with properly.
Okay, thanks, Councillor McCabe. Oh, Councillor Yanko.
Thank you. And just to reiterate what Councilor McCabe had said, I was going to also mention that we had discussed this in our planning board meeting. Also, I found it was very refreshing to see that the developer listened to the residents from the previous rejection and presented a better plan that residents seemed pleased with. So it's great to see that developers are willing to listen to the people in the area, and I would love to hope that this is a trend that will keep going that way. So I will be supporting this development.
Okay, thank you. Councillor Jerome.
Thank you very much, Your Worship. I just want to, no, I didn't want to touch on this, but I asked a couple of the residents why you didn't go, to the meeting. I've seen a couple of them at the gym, and a young fellow's mother, and he said, you know what? He said, we're sick and tired of it. I said, well, what do you mean? Now, here's your chance. We had a chance. We went the last year. You're just going to keep coming back. So, he throws his hands up and he said, Bob, I'm through. So then I said, okay, that's your opinion, and I can appreciate that, because this is like the third or fourth time we're hitting the ball here, right? So I went to another resident and I said, well, I didn't see you at the meeting. Well, why would it bother? You guys are just going to approve it anyway. And I said, well, no, that's not the recourse we're trying to get. We have the public meeting. Well, I went to the last two, so I'm not going anymore. You know what? I'm just frustrated. And I can understand that. So when, Councillor Duffy comes up and says, there's no one there to talk against it, these residents that I talk to are fed up with continuously coming trying to fight it, because they say to me, you know what, Bob, they're going to go ahead, they're not going to stop, they're not going to listen to us. We went to a couple other meetings, you never listen to the public, you never do. So that was, it was a little hurtful to me, but I said, all I can do is bring it here and tell you, the council members, of what I'm getting from the residents. A lot of them, that they didn't get a letter. It's only 100 meters. It's not that far, half the street. A lot of people up the street didn't get it. So, I understand. Even the people behind didn't get it. So, again, I just ask, to have sober second thought here and do what you have to do to vote. Thank you for your time.
Okay, thank you. Okay, seeing no other speakers.
Your Worship.
Councillor Twill.
Thank you. I'd like to hear from I guess Mr. Forbes is not in the chamber because of a conflict of interest. So is there another staff person there representing the planning department?
What do you need to know?
Well, the issues that I raised, I'd like to hear from a staff perspective that they're effectively addressed. About the concerns about the surface water runoff, garbage disposal, the development, the scale and density of the project being too large. Traffic, as Councillor Graham pointed out, I'm feeling on a consistent basis issues about traffic. It's a shortcut. Palmer's Lane is a shortcut. There's excessive traffic on the street now, and this is only going to add to it. We're not opposed to development, but is there a possibility for a development that's more consistent with the majority of the properties on that street, which is more in line with, single family or / duplexes?
Okay, Councillor McLeod will address some of those issues, I think.
Thank you, Councillor Twill, for your questions and concerns. So if you read the report, so planning staff did the due diligence, and they have staff has recommended it. We go to a public consultation. There could be people that are not in favor, but unfortunately, we're bound by our public process, and those folks were all spoke in favor of it. So planning board approved it. And when the bottom line of the motion, it does say, be approved, subject to the signing of a development agreement and a final PIN survey plan. So things like your surface water infrastructure, garbage cans, all that stuff has to be dealt with within that before anything goes forward ahead. So I do appreciate the neighbors across the other side bringing those issues up, because they are issues, and I think staff has a good control on that. And at the end of the day, you know, I don't know if there's ever a proposal that's going through the best, but this is certainly a great improvement, and the residents at the public meeting voiced their concern about that, and it's unfortunate everyone doesn't get to go, but unfortunately planning rules are rules, and that's where we are here today. Thank you.
Okay, thanks, Councilor McLeod. Okay, seeing no other speakers, all in favor? Okay, those opposed? Councilor Tweel?
No.
Okay, thank you. Motion's carried 7-2.
Your worship, moved by Councillor McLeod.
Oh.
Sorry, your worship, moved by Councillor McLeod, second by Councillor McCabe, that the architectural plans as submitted for the townhouse dwellings located on the corner of Towers Road and Mount Everett Road, PID 390559, 390534, and 390542 be approved, and further that the development agreement be amended to reflect the proposed design changes.
Okay, thank you.
Questions?
Any questions? Oh, Councilor Bernard, sorry.
This is the one where at the public meeting was talked about the different, the upgrade on the outside of the buildings.
Yes.
So I just wanted to comment there, because I guess the developer at the time was annoyed that he had to come. And he showed a number of examples from other projects that he felt weren't up to snuff as far as the looks on the outside. And I don't know if anybody told him or not, but he's in a CDA zone. And in the CDA zone, that's where when he first showed his properties how to really look, and then he changed it. So under that zone, he has to come back and show the public what the new change is. And I think planning at the time said it was a significant change and had to go to a public meeting. And I was surprised he didn't seem to know that. He seemed to be looking at a number of other projects around the city saying, well, they didn't have to come to council. Well, his is in the CDA zone, and if he doesn't know that, then planning or somebody should probably tell him. Okay, thank you.
Thank you. Thank you. Okay, seeing no other.
Yeah, Your Worship.
Yes.
Thank you. I think when you look at you know, this particular project, and I guess it's more so on the process and you know, the dynamic that's at play. I can tell you, and I don't think it's any surprise to any members of City Council, there's a lot of frustrations with development in this particular area. You know, there's, as you know, there's 2 appeals before IRAC. Here we are, we're voting.
We have a point of order. Go ahead, Councilor McLeod.
Thank you very much. Sorry, Councillor Tweel, but unfortunately, we are just dealing with the architectural plans here this evening, and the history of the project is not into play here. Thank you.
No, but I'm still able to talk about, you know, the frustration from the residents, Councillor McLeod.
And we've addressed all those frustrations at the public meeting.
Sir, with all due respect, I beg to differ, because as you know, there was a couple of residents stood up and expressed their dismay and their disillusionment with the process, and they felt that, and this is no disrespect to you, felt that the meeting, you know, that the meeting wasn't fair. They didn't believe that it was fair. I mean, that's how they see it. And there was frustration with, you know, how the meeting proceeded. And again, I'm not trying to be critical. I'm just trying to be honest. And they felt that with appeals before IRAC and what took place at the meeting, that they didn't think it was fair and impartial. And I'm just trying to convey that. And there's a lot of frustrations out there in that particular community. So I just wanted to bring that to the you know, bring that to the meeting tonight at the council, at the public planning meeting. I just listened, didn't offer an opinion either way, just sat back and listened, and it's no surprise some of the comments I've made. It's more about, I believe, the process and how the process is unfolded, and And again, I'll reiterate, there's a tremendous amount of frustration, probably on the developer side too, but I'm just trying to convey what the residents in the immediate area have been talking about for the last year and a half.
Councilor
Thank you.
McLeod.
Good, thank you very much. So I'm going to let Alex just to confirm what I was trying to tell you, Councilor Twill, regarding this project. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Your Worship. Everybody who was at the meeting, it's my recollection, those that spoke to the issue of the architectural design. I don't think anybody had an issue with the architectural design. There were two members that spoke about the process, but they were both involved with an appeal at IRAC. IRAC is the appropriate body to review the process that Councillor Tweel is alluding to. And again, any concerns that he brings up, they will certainly ensure that it is reviewed properly. And so it's not as though those residents' concerns are not going to be addressed. They will be addressed at IRAC at the appropriate time. And it is the best place for them to be dealt with.
So tonight is only on the design, is that correct?
It's just on the design, and that's the only issue. That was the limitation at the public hearing. And the two that spoke on that, it was clarified that the issue of process was not for discussion that evening. But I think everybody else spoke positively on the design. Thank you, Your
Okay, thank you.
Just to follow up, Your Worship.
No, if it's not on the architectural plans, then we're gonna move on.
Okay, sir.
Okay.
Okay.
All those in favor? Okay. Those opposed? Opposed or in favor, Councillor Tweel?
Opposed.
Okay, thank you. So the motion is carried 7-1.
Your Worship, moved by Councillor McLeod, second by Councillor McCabe, that the request to amend Appendix C, approve site-specific exemptions as per Section 3.11, site-specific exemptions of the zoning and development bylaw, to exempt 25 McLeod Crescent, PID 110-6400 and 112-3686 from Section 37.1 of the zoning and development bylaw to allow a medical, health, and dental office as defined in the zoning and development bylaw as permitted use on the subject property, and consolidate 25 McLeod Crescent, PID 112-3686 and 110-6400 be approved, subject to the final pinned survey plan.
Thank you. Any questions are called? All those in favor? Those opposed? Councillor Tweel?
In favor.
In favor, thank you. Carried 9-0.
Your Worship, moved by Councillor McLeod, second by Councillor McCabe, that the request to consolidate a portion of 249 Sherwood Road, PID 145128, and land north of 271 Sherwood Road, PID 145128, to form one parcel be approved, subject to the final pinned survey plan.
Thank you.
Questions called?
Questions called? All those in favor? Those opposed? Councillor Tweel?
In favor.
In favor? Carried 9-0. Thank
Your
you.
Worship, moved by Councillor McLeod, second by Councillor McCabe, that the request to amend sections of the zoning and development bylaw P8-ZD.2. Sorry, that's been deferred. I apologize for that. Next one, sorry,
Which one are you on?
Number 9.
number 9.
Yeah.
Oh, it's number 7, okay.
Okay, sorry. Moved by Councillor McLeod, second by Councillor McCabe, that the council not reconsider their decision pertaining to the issuance of Phase 1 site plan and foundation permits for 3 new 6-unit townhouses issued to Pan American Properties located at the corner of Towers Road and Mount Everett Road, PID numbers 390559, 390534, and 390542.
Councillor McCabe?
Thank you. And I just want to clarify, in planning board, I said this, and it's probably going to say it again, is even though I was not in support of foundation plans at the time, this is looking at the process to see if I felt that we did not follow the proper process, which is not the case. So I do support that we don't reconsider this process, even though I didn't through this process in the first place. We didn't break the process. How's that for clarity? Thank you.
Claire's not French,
Okay, questions are called. All those in favor?
Your worship, can you please read that resolution again?
G. Yeah. G.
Do you have a package?
Yeah, I got a package, but I just want to hear the resolution again.
It's in the package.
Okay.
Package.
Okay. Okay. Mr. Kelly will read it again.
Your worship, moved by Councillor McLeod, second by Councillor McCabe, that council not reconsider their decision pertaining to the issuance of Phase 1 site plan and foundation permits for 3 new 6-unit townhouses issued to Pan American Properties located at the corner of Towers Road and Mount Everett Road, PID numbers 390559, 390534, and 390542.
Thank you. Okay, so the question's been called. All in favor? Those opposed?
Oh, I'm at 7.
Councillor Twill?
Opposed.
Opposed? Okay, thank you. So motion's carried 7-1. Thank you. Okay, so
There's 2 first readings.
yeah, if the first one, are you going in order?
This one is regards to
Is it Palmer's
Lane,
Lane?
yes, Palmer's Lane,
Okay, so
and then
Mr. Forbes. Okay.
okay, official plan PH-OPA.1 to adopt the official plan amendments PH-OPA.I-028, the land use for 38 Palmer's Lane, PID 275156, as shown on Appendix A, future land use map of the City of Charlottetown, official plan, is designated as a medium density residential, hereby excluding it from its former designation of low density residential. Moved by Councillor McLeod, second by Councillor McCabe. Be resolved that the official plan amendment PH-OPA.I-028 as it pertains to 38 Palmer's Lane, PID 275156 as attached be adopted.
Okay, shall carry? Pass. Those opposed? Okay, Councillor Twill?
No.
Okay.
The zoning and development bylaw PH-ZD.2 to adopt bylaw PH-ZD.2-053, a bylaw to amend the zoning and development bylaw to amend Appendix G of the zoning map of the zoning and development bylaw from low density residential R2 zone to medium density residential townhouse zone for 38 Palmer's Lane, PID 275156, and amend Appendix G of the zoning map of the zoning and development bylaw from apartment residential R4 zone to medium density residential townhouse zone for a portion of the property at 40 Palmer's Lane, PID 275164 zone. Be resolved that the bylaw to amend the City of Charlottetown zoning development bylaw PH-ZD.2053 as it pertains to 38 Palmer's Lane, PID 275156, and a portion of the property at 40 Palmer's Lane, PID 275164 as attached be read a first time and approved, and that it be read a second time at the next public meeting of council. Moved by Councillor McLeod, second by Councillor McCabe.
Shall carry?
Pass.
Those opposed? Councillor Twill opposed again?
Yes, I oppose.
Okay, thank you.
Your worship,
Next.
move official plan PH-OPA.1, zoning development bylaw PH-ZD.2 to adopt the bylaw PH-ZD.2054, a bylaw to amend the zoning development bylaw to amend Appendix C, approve site-specific exemptions table to allow for a site-specific amendment to the heavy industrial M2 zone in order to allow for a medical, health, and dental office as permitted use on the subject property at 25 McLeod Crescent, PID 1106400 and 1123686. Moved by Councillor McLeod, second by Councillor McCabe. Be resolved that the bylaw to amend the City of Charlottetown zoning and development bylaw PH-ZD.2-054 as pertains to 25 McLeod Crescent, PID 1106400 and 1123686 as attached be read a first time and approved, and that it be read a second time at the next public meeting of council.
Shall carry?
Pass.
Those opposed? Carried 9-0. Thank you. Does that conclude? Oh, sorry. Councillor Twill, were you in favor of that last?
Yes, I was.
Okay, perfect, thank you. Carried 9-0.
Chair, step out for a second.
Sure, that concludes your
That concludes my report. Thank you very much, Deputy.
Thank you. We'll move on to environment and sustainability, and that's Councillor Twill.
Thank you, Your Worship. Members of council, I'd like to read the briefing that was put together by Ramon Doyle, manager of the Environment and Sustainability Committee. Monthly transit ridership for October 2021 was 59,242 compared to October the 20th, 2020, where ridership was 37,388. The city's transit system is currently maintaining a 58% of its pre-pandemic ridership. Monthly ridership from high school participants in the student transit project was 664 this month. Waste Reduction Week in Canada, a nationwide initiative aimed at encouraging Canadians to decrease the amount of waste they produce, took place from October 18th to the 24th. As part of this week, the city partnered with a number of organizations including Happy Ocean, Repeats Quality, Youth Family Clothing and Costumes, the Charlottetown Tool Library, the Department of the Environment, Energy and Climate Action to offer educational resources, events and incentives to help residents reduce waste. In order to implement the Charlottetown Community Energy Plan, the city's already purchased 2 electric vehicles and intends to transition its fleets to zero emissions vehicles over the next several years. Last year alone, the city used 21,937 gigajoules of fuel and diesel, which cost the city $651,336. While the city transitions to zero emissions vehicles, we continue to look for opportunities to reduce our waste and our existing vehicles. The anti-idling policy brought forward to council tonight will help the city reduce these numbers and show the city's commitment towards reducing its greenhouse gas emissions in the transportation sector. Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Councillor Twill. So we have 2 resolutions.
3 resolutions.
There's 3.
3, sorry. 3. Okay.
Your Worship, moved by Councillor Twill, second by Councillor Bernard, that the new Flyer Industries be paid in the amount of $61,731.91 plus applicable taxes for the purchase of tooling and specialized equipment for the full-size transit buses, and that this be expensed of the 2021-2022 capital budget.
Okay, question's been called. All those in favor? Those opposed? Councillor Twill?
In favor?
In favor? Okay, carried 9-0. Thank you.
Your Worship, moved by Councillor Twill, second by Councillor Bernard, that the attached anti-idling policy be approved.
Question called.
Question call. All those in favor? Okay, those opposed? Councillor Twill?
In favor?
In favor, carried 9-0. Thank you.
Your Worship, moved by Councillor Twill, second by Councillor Bernard, that the contract for CBCL for design and engineering of the Charlottetown Perimeter Highway Active Transportation Corridor be increased from $60,000 plus applicable taxes to $90,540 plus applicable taxes to accommodate necessary scope changes and required engineering for the successful execution of the project, and that the additional expenses be included in the approved 2021-2022 city capital budget for this project with no increases required. And further, that the city use the approved funds from the PEI Active Transportation Fund towards these additional costs, which are shared 50-50 with the province of PEI.
Okay, thank you. Councillor Ramsey.
Thank you, Your Worship.
Thank you, Councilor Trio, for your report. As I bring up to a lot of, I sit on finance, so I bring up Parks and Recreation and Public Works and all this. Once we put our RFPs out there, and I see in the back where all the extra work is going to be done, it just seems like recently, in the last year or two, once our RFPs are accepted, then we come back, we talked about this a little bit of finance, I think, Mr. Chair, as you remember. Then the prices change again. There's more added on and more added on, and that seems to be every department. And I know that the cost of everything goes up, but there's other work that they find there's a problem with it and all that, but I just find it hard, like, as Councillor Duffy said one day, like, if you're gonna do your washroom over, or your bathroom over at your house, and you're allowing so much money, well, it's half done, then they're gonna come in and hit you with more. I'm just wondering, what's the use of the RFPs if we put in for 100,000, for example, and then all of a sudden it's up to 150, halfway through the project. I'm just trying to wrap my head around that, Your Worship. Thank you.
Okay, Councillor McLeod.
Thank you very much. Just a statement, Councillor Trio, thank you for your report. And I don't want to steal Mike's thunder if he might have a report, I'm not sure, but just that Jessica Brown had spoke at the Federation of Municipalities semi-annual meeting on the weekend, and she done a really nice job. She talked about greenhouse gas emissions, what the city's doing, and we also did a bit of bragging about our micro grant system and how well that was working, and people were really taken by. She had a lovely presentation on the screen. And I just wanted to say a little shout out to Jessica. She just come back, so we threw her right into the fire, so it was great, and great job by everybody in the department. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Councillor Hancock.
Just more about process. I thought we agreed other council meetings ago that we weren't going to find last minute resolutions on our desk the night of. We are actually going to have these in advance, so this is brand new. So now we need to make a real quick decision on transferring extra money from the original $60,000. I'm sure it's a wonderful idea, but I just thought, did we not, or did I forget that we were going to try and avoid these last minute resolutions that weren't in our package for us to prepare over the weekend have questions? If anyone could answer that question for me, that would be great.
Yeah, we did actually.
We did agree with that.
Yeah. We did say that.
Well, it's up to council. Here tonight, there's a resolution on the floor. If somebody wants to defer to get more information or think longer about it, then now would be the time to do that.
No, the information's out there in the back.
Yeah.
You know, I'm just wondering.
It was anticipated on the agenda under the environment and sustainability. The two resolutions are attached, one anticipated.
But it didn't
come in until late.
Yeah. If I saw that, it said one was anticipated, but it didn't say what it was about. Yeah. Anywho, if council, I think it's probably an incredible project, as long as council's okay with this trend that we're setting of additional money being transferred almost everything from the budget. Maybe some of you senior veterans can shed a little light on this one. They look over it today.
Well, I'm just waiting for the chair to respond.
Councillor Tweel, do you have anything to add?
No, it all stays in the resolution. I mean, it's not something that we expected. It was as an amendment to the cost, and it's all explained in the resolution. And if you want further information, our manager Ramona Doyle can elaborate even further. Ramona, could you please respond?
Certainly, if there's any questions regarding any of the additions that we made, I think the idea here is that normally we can make some of these decisions operationally without bringing it to council, because there are a number of additions that were made that we did want to bring to council before moving forward. And in terms of the timeline, of course, it was a last minute addition, so I hear that point.
Okay. Councillor Bernard.
Thank you. And Councillor Yankoff brings up a good point. I think the difference in this one was this is an issue that we have been dealing with. This is a whole new resolution with a new project, so on that just arrived. This is a project that has been working on. We're in phase 2 of phase 3. So So that's underway now, and these are some of the extra costs that are listed on the back and why the extra cost is being incurred. So I think it's just one of those things that this particular resolution was already passed and we're doing the work. So it's not like it's a new resolution that somebody's just thrown the desk that something's totally blind to us. This is additional cost that was explained. So I think to me that would be the difference. This project is, they're still working on it now. They have started phase 2. And those are some of the additional costs that have been incurred from phase 1 and phase 2.
Thank you.
Okay. Does anyone want to call a question or?
Questions? Comments?
Questions called. Okay, all those in favor of this resolution? Okay. Those opposed? Okay, Councillor Tweel?
In favor.
In favor? Okay. Carried 9-0, thank you. Does that conclude your report, Councillor Tweel?
Yes, it is, Your Worship. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Next report is Strategic Priorities and Intergovernmental Cooperation. That's Councillor Ramsey.
Thank you, Your Worship. We met on October 28th. The minutes are in your package. Youth engagement met October 22nd, and the minutes are also in your package. There are no resolutions, but the one notice of motion to amend the procedure bylaw at the next regular meeting, which I guess we're going to be having in a week or so, or next week.
Okay,
Thank you very much.
thank you. Any questions for Councillor Ramsey? Seeing none, none.
I just have a quick
Oh.
question. I'm just wondering, are we going to get to see what we're amending? Like, is that going to
Yes.
be another week?
Yes.
Okay.
Correct.
Keep seeing over to amend something, and I'm like, I don't know what we're amending.
Is that true, Mr. Kelly? Yes.
Okay. Thank you.
Every council's going to get the package.
Perfect.
Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Councillor Ramsey.
Thank you, Your Worship.
We'll move on to finance audit and tendering, and Councillor Vard will give the report. Thank you for doing that.
Thank you. The pitch hitting.
Yes.
The Finance Audit and Tendering Committee met November 3rd, and the minutes are included in your package, as you will see. There's no resolution for consideration tonight, but between the two of us, Your Worship, we'd be happy to answer any questions.
Thank you. Is there any questions from council regarding finance?
I have a question, Your Worship.
Okay, go ahead, Councillor Tweel.
Thank you. Late last week, members of council received correspondence from the PEI Automobile Association, and my interpretation or my assessment of the correspondence is that there still seems to be a difference of opinion. I know that some discussions have taken place with senior administration and representatives from the PEI Automobile Association, but there doesn't seem to be a consensus or an agreement, if you will. And I wonder if it'd be prudent for council, maybe next week sometime at a noon hour meeting, to have a meeting with representatives from PEI Automobile Association to further explore what those differences are and see if we can bring this to a resolution, or maybe, there was thought back a few weeks ago that there would have been a resolution to rescind the previous resolution because there wasn't an agreement. Just some thoughts, and just looking for a clarification as to where we're at in the status report.
Okay. No, go ahead, Councillor.
Thank you. Thanks, Councillor Tweel. I'm not part of finance, but Public Works did request from the Planning Committee that we reach out to the Automobiles Association and sit down with them on a staff level and just answer any questions that they had. I think that went over 3 times. And at the last of it, the email that you're referring to more or less says at the end of it that, well, they don't agree that we're going to make that much money. Well, unfortunately, I don't think that's their issue. I mean, at the end of the day, we answered all their questions, and that's what they come back with. So Public Works didn't have to do that. We done that. We went out and did a due diligence. We said, you know what, people have concerns. Let's talk to them about it. We think we got a good plan here. Let's lay it on them and go from there. And this is what they come back with, is they don't understand how we're going to make money. But that's not their problem, really. And at the end of the day, we have done everything we possibly can to deal with this situation. And thank you.
Thank you, Councillor Duffy.
Thank you, Your Worship. Mr. Kelly, could you bring us up to date where we are administratively with this package?
So with regards to the correspondence that came in last week, we have referred it, again, it's in staff who have been discussing the matter with Enterprise, and there seems to be some error in terms of the understanding of the Automobile Association. And so the staff are getting that information. They will provide that back to the association.
So we're just waiting on our public works staff to clarify an issue?
I'll go to the, if it's okay.
Yeah, sorry.
Yes, that's very accurate. The problem is that the Automobile Association, it's not apples and apples that they were comparing, because their comparison was based on us purchasing vehicles, whereas Enterprise is on leasing vehicles. So right there, so, there's finance charges and so on that they have added on to Enterprise that they themselves aren't factoring in. So where it stands now is we sent off the spreadsheet that we received from the Automobile Association. We sent that to Enterprise for them to answer those questions. So that just come back late this evening, that I haven't had a chance to read it yet. So there's still some back and forth there. We have decided, the Deputy Mayor has decided that we would bring this as an item to our next Finance and Audit and Tendering Committee meeting. That said, Enterprise did indicate to us that Ford had indicated to them that there could be greater delays in getting some of the vehicles that we want if this goes on much further, or much longer. So, I mean, obviously they are a sales team, so there is that kind of pressure there for them to make the sale, but also, with the supply chain, Ford probably is telling them that if we're not settled soon and order some vehicles, we may not get them when we need them.
Okay. Councillor Bernard.
Just on that, if you don't mind, can I go through the chair? Sure. What would the delay be if we pass this resolution in August? Why would there be a delay with Enterprise? Are you saying we're not ordering any vehicles yet?
No, I'm sorry. We have.
Like you were saying, if this gets delayed any longer, you're not going to be able to supply the vehicle.
I am saying Enterprise has indicated that Ford has told them that, the longer we delay in the order, the greater the chance of delay.
So why would we be delaying the order?
Why would we? Because we haven't passed.
We have the resolution, obviously.
So what's happened, if I could, Mr. Chair, is that after the last discussion, we did update the association as per council's direction. We then have been dealing with legal, and there's a couple of changes in the contract that we've asked for. Enterprise, as I understand, has agreed to most of the changes. There's one piece that we're waiting to hear back from. Once that's done, we will then proceed forward as per council's direction.
So did council now pass a resolution?
Yes.
Go through that management?
Yes.
Did that pass that in August?
Yes, and we are working towards
So
that.
we haven't, so has it been signed off?
You mean by the mayor and myself?
Well, usually every resolution is signed off by yourself and the mayor.
Again, the contracts are not yet done. There's one last sticking point with Enterprise that we're working out. Once that's done, they will go through the final contract formation and will be signed off.
I'm surprised to hear that this has been delayed for so long. I guess to me, when the information is brought to us and we're told that it's $181,000 savings per year for buying local, for servicing local, and there's an extra clause with no penalty, I really fail to see what the holdup is. We've been dragging this on now for 3 or 4 months, and now I find the resolution that we passed is not even really active upon what we're talking about. And this board is right, John. So we're losing money that we could save, taxpayers' money, because this hasn't, although we passed the resolution, hasn't been fulfilled.
As part of next year's program, that's why we are trying to get the legal piece out of the way. There's one last piece we're trying to move away, and then we're ready to go.
Okay.
Councillor Duffy.
So, in the final analysis, the political thing has been done. Council has done what they're supposed to do. They cast a vote, it was 4-3 to accept Enterprise, right? So so it's an administrative thing now between the lawyers, Enterprise, and the staff of this organization.
That's correct.
So we're waiting for that bump in the road, excuse the pun, to be settled, and we move on from there, correct?
There's one last piece.
Thank you.
Okay.
Your worship,
Yes, Councillor Twill.
I thought that because correspondence were taking place between the city and the PEI Automobile Association, that discussions were still fluid, and that finance was going to examine all of these issues and then come back with a recommendation to council. I thought that was the understanding. Did council not give senior administration that direction?
Do you want to take on that?
Well, I'll start because
Just, Councillor Tweed, did you ask the question to the deputy as finance?
No, the deputy was in the chair, your worship.
He's back in he's back on the floor.
Okay, he's back on the floor. Well, either the chair of finance or the CAO. I mean, there were still discussions taking place, and the correspondence that we got last week, my interpretation of that correspondence is that there was not an agreement on the resolution that was passed by council, and that we were furthering the discussions to take a second look at it to see what we can do to try to work with the PEI Automobile Association as well. I mean, I thought that's the direction that we were going on, and now I'm hearing, well, some members of council think it's totally different.
Do you want to address that, Deputy?
I don't really have very much information. What we agreed to last Finance Committee was there was a meeting that took place with city staff. There's some sort of report or minutes that were taken. We didn't have that in time for our finance meeting last month, so it's going to be on the agenda for this coming month with that email or minutes, whatever you want to call, from that meeting. So we're up to speed. That's as much as I know.
And so just on that point, Worship,
You want to add something here, Mr. Kelly?
staff are still moving the file forward as per council's emotion. We have not been told or advised or moved otherwise to stop. So we are finishing the negotiations with Enterprise. We did supply the information to the association as per council's directive. That has been done, and now we're moving the file forward. So again, we are still going forward unless council tells us otherwise, and it is to be done, Your Worship.
Councillor Todd.
thank you very much, Your Worship.
Question of the finance chair?
No, to Councillor Trio's question. So Councillor, Public Works made the decision to open up more conversation with the Automobile Dealers Association.
Yeah.
That if we feel good enough that this is a good idea, share it with them, since they seem to be missing a couple of points where we were making money where they didn't see that. So there was no movement from council as to change or do anything like that. I mean, it came to council through Public Works and through finance. It came here, we voted on it, but the Automobile Association didn't believe what the fleet management of Enterprise were saying. So I said, you know what, if we think we're that great, then let's have a meeting with them. So we did. We had the meeting, and out of it, there's come one point of interest that we didn't discuss, and it's gone to legal, which in turn will go back to finance.
Yeah. Okay. Let's leave it at that. Going back to finance, is that all right, Councillor Yankoff? Was it your question that you were asking?
No, it wasn't my question.
No, it shouldn't be.
Yeah,
No, it's not.
you'll go back to finance.
I don't think so.
Yeah.
Why would,
Because we were waiting for the report from Steve McFadden and the group that met with the Automobile
but I
Association.
negotiate.
Deputy,
Go ahead.
Deputy, go ahead.
Not to muddy the waters here, but to back up to September, I guess. The resolution was passed in August. I think the question that was raised was what standing committee, whether Public Works or Finance, made the recommendation to go with Enterprise? And nobody can answer that question. And then the second point was, it was at a special meeting of council and it wasn't on the agenda. So you can't add an item to the agenda. We all know that. So I guess that was kind of where this started back in September. How did it get here? But this conversation has kind of evolved maybe a little bit.
Just 1 second. Councillor Duffy, did you have something to say?
Well, what happened was, it was on the open agenda, the open session of the August 25th special meeting of council. By the way, it was at Finance on March the 31st, and it returned to Finance on June the 9th, at which time Finance said, refer this on to council. And that's where it is now. By the way, we're not negotiating with the PEI Automobile Association. We're just acting out of a courtesy to them. I mean, we're not depending on their stamp of approval. They're not in this scenario. We're trying to be good corporate citizens, let them know what's going on. But we're not taking marching orders from them. We're dealing with enterprise fleet management service. And it's already gone through council of 4-3. Back to my original statement. It was on August the 25th. It was on the open session that it was to be discussed. We discussed it in here, and as we do with not most things, with some things, it goes from being a discussion to that we had consensus, so we'll move into the open session, or we were in the open session, and we will vote as a council, and that's where the 4-3 vote took place on August the 28th. But
August 25th.
No, August the 25th, the 28th was the meeting. August the 25th was the Friday prior to. So August the 28th was the meeting that was held where we voted 4-3. As far as going back to Finance's role, you should review the terms of reference of the Finance Committee. There is not to pick the issue apart from a practical, fundamental, operational point of view. That's up to the standing committee, which is Public Works in this case, where we have our people out at the garage. They know what they need, what they want, and where they can get the best deal. The Finance Committee comes in when they're doing reviewing such administration things as, is there a budget? Is there money in the budget? Was the budget set up for this sort of purchase? Were all the tendering aspects of the purchase followed? Was the opening done in a proper way? Did it get reviewed? Is everything checked? And now it's into council for acceptance or rejection. That's all the administrative stuff. That's over and done with. As on June the 9th, Finance Committee said, on council with it. We're satisfied that it has met all the things. So we're just simply waiting for Mr. McFadgen, Mr. McKinnon and those people out there to deal with enterprise, not necessarily the Automobile Association. That is a courtesy only. Thank you, Your Worship.
Your point of order there, Councillor Bernard.
Well, it is pretty well dealt with. Anyway, the only thing I want to say was, when we talked earlier, one of the things Councillor Cody brought up was the agenda, and it was on the, it wasn't on the agenda, it was on the agenda. And just a week ago, we had a special meeting here. We talked about the COVID protocols that we were going to institute in the city. And we talked about it at a closed session. And then we opened the door and we passed the resolution. Like I said before, we've done this lots of times. So to go back and say, oh no, that was the legal resolution. No, yeah, it was. It's the way we've been doing business for years. And it was a discussion, and then we opened the door and we passed the resolution. So that one was passed legally. It was a 4-3 vote. The COVID one was passed legally. We discussed it at council, opened the door and voted, like we've done many others. So I think that particular agenda, it had listed 4 public works resolutions that we were going to be dealing with. I think that's what confused people. But it was done legally.
Okay. Want to close it there, Deputy? You're all right? Okay. Anything else? Good. Move on.
Yeah.
Thank you, Nancy. My apologies for being late. I was just at some senior homes for Remembrance Day. Okay. Human Resources. Councillor Yankoff.
Thank you, Your Worship.
Thank you.
The Human Resources, Communications and Administrative Committee report is in your package. We met on November the 2nd. There are 5 resolutions for your consideration. Probably had a lot of reads for you over the weekend because we've got the domestic management partner violence policy. We have the benefits policy for employees on leave. We have the Sentry policy. And we also have the Employment Assistance Program policy. And if you notice that there was a revised policy in for which is number 5 in your package. We just erred when we had said that we were going to have to repeal this policy. We accidentally indicated that it was because it now falls under fourth legislation, but it actually falls under the City of Charlottetown's Records Retention and Disposal Schedule bylaw. So my apologies for the last minute change in the resolution. If anyone has any questions, I will do my best to answer. And Bethany is here as well, so thank you.
Councillor Kevin Ramsey, Ward 5.
Thank you, Councilor Hancock and Bethany. I had a few phone calls about our signage, and it's under communications also, that there's some residents would like to just see Merry Christmas, Happy New Year on 1, 2. We only put 5 signs out every year, am I correct? And we can do it we got our spring sign out now, and the next thing you know, we had Remembrance Day out, which is out also. But the next one would be Christmas. And they don't understand why we just can't go back to 1 sign or 4 signs, Merry Christmas, Happy New Year. He doesn't understand it, because we can put signs out for Pride Month, we can put signs out for every other thing that's going on. Like, he just wants to go back to the old way. And I told him I will try and get an answer for him. And he's not the only person that's calling, but they just want to get back.
And that's just one of the 5 signs.
I would say, you know, I mean, we're not gonna change them all, but, and I don't know if the signs are already made up, or what's the story and all
Or
that.
we can
So
add one.
I just would like to try and have an answer for this.
Or we can add one. Councillor Yanko.
Thank you, and thank you, Councilor Ramsey, for your question. And we did discuss this at our most recent meeting. It's, I'm not sure how many years ago the signage was changed to reflect our multicultural community that we live in today. And the most common and respectful way they say to recognize the holiday season is to use terms like happy holidays, season's greetings. So, that being said, it's obviously council's decision, but we would then have to remember that we have many, many other celebrations that will take place within the city of Charlottetown. We would have Kwanzaa, we have Hanukkah, later on the Ramadan. So we just need to decide, perhaps we need to go back and create a new policy when it comes to this. And I'll just open that up to council's discussion, but the committee did decide to continue on with the status quo, keeping our holiday greetings very generic in respect to Charlottetown as a whole.
Just to follow up, your worship.
Yes, you can follow. Councillor Ramsey, go right ahead.
I might be getting old and all that, but what did our signs read last year for the festive season? Does anyone remember? I can't. In fact, I can't.
Well, it wasn't Merry Christmas.
No?
No.
I know it was a few years ago.
Yeah, it was.
It was a few years ago.
Is there a problem with that?
No, I'm just saying, last year it wasn't Merry Christmas. So that's what he's asking. Just
I mean, that's my question, like, what did we have on our signs last year? Like, I mean, monoculture, like, just didn't all move in, you know, this one year. It's been around for a while. I'm just wondering, you know, what did we have on our signs last year?
Well, I think it's the Christmas festive season.
I don't know. That's my question to you. So I can't remember it. Can anyone remember it?
Yeah. Councillor McCabe.
These signs, I think, actually fall under economic development, and I just got notification that they are committed already for this season, so I think we're not going to be able to discuss it.
But we can add one.
But I was told.
We can add one.
I was told it was under communications, so that's the only reason I'm asking Councillor Yankoff. I was told it was under communications.
And that was on our agenda, so.
Yeah, so.
Because you guys are communications responsible.
Yeah.
Right.
Okay.
Okay.
Councillor Duffy.
Thank you, Your Worship.
Silos.
I'd like to believe, Your Worship, the gentleman in question wants to use what we refer to as 5 or 6. We have 5 or 6, I think. I think this is what he's talking about.
Yes, he is.
We have 5 or 6 community boards. There's one at the bottom of Belvedere on North River Road. There's one at the bottom of the road at Croydon Road on the end of North River.
Water Street, West.
North River.
Yeah.
They're dispersed.
5.
And they're used by the city corporation to advertise events of interest like Mr. McEwen downstairs in his water department, the meters or something, anything related to the city or New Year's Eve in the park, that sort of thing. And that was used other years at the foot of North River Road. So, but I don't know what was on them before, but I think this gentleman is asking to use those same community boards with Merry Christmas on them, signs that provided by the city. In other words, so where are we going to put our community events, like if we have something during the Christmas season for kids in the park or whatever? If we give them over to Ho-Ho, we're not going to have anything to advertise city-connected or related activities. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So the Legion has asked us, for example, before for Chase the Ace, could we use that sign there to ever? And the word was no. Those are for city-only activities. Thank you.
Yeah, just 1 second, hold on. Councillor Duffy?
Yes.
I think, correct me if I'm wrong, Councillor Ramsey, he's asking for 1 of the 5, correct?
He would like to see something on it,
Yeah.
like say Merry Christmas, Happy New Year.
Yeah, that's Councillor McLeod.
Thank you very much. And you backed me up to this. So at the Federation Municipality meetings there in the weekend, there was a small community, I think part of it's volunteer, and they actually have 8 different languages on their signs.
Yeah.
So I'm pretty sure the city of Charlottetown should be able to figure out what we want to put on our signs.
Yeah.
We're kind of spending a lot of time here talking, like it doesn't matter if there's 19 cultures, well, let's put 19 languages on. Yeah. But let's move on. Like it's you know what I mean? It's
okay.
Beating a dead horse.
Yeah. Let's refer to Laura Lee. She's with Economic Development. Laura Lee, do you want to get into this?
So many stairs in this building. So the signs in question, the 5 or 6 entrance locations that have been highlighted, those signs are reserved for events. Yeah. So those signs are booked through the end of the year, which we have, I believe, communicated to the individual that is in question. The option to add another sign is council's, but the sign locations in question are not available for this year. So that's...
But we could add...
That would be council's decision, but the locations in question at the entrances are reserved for events and they are fully booked.
That's the digital sign.
No, it's the entrance billboard. So like there's one at the bottom of North River Road.
One on Allen Street.
There's one on Allen Street. So they change out during the event season.
Oh,
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay.
Now it's lest we forget.
Yeah, but
Yes.
my question was, we had fall, welcome to fall or wherever.
Fall in the fall.
The one on Allen Street.
Yep.
So pretty soon we're gonna be doing one for Christmas, correct?
No. So we have the Charlottetown Christmas Festival. So when the seasonal signs go up, they're for gaps in the event schedule because council has directed us not to leave those boards blank. So when we have gaps in our schedule, that's when we'll throw up like a welcome to summer or a happy fall or a Remembrance Day sign. But when events are scheduled, that's what those boards are reserved for.
So what department is this on each under?
So the signs in question, the 5 or 6 locations, falls under economic development.
Oh.
Because they're for tourism driving events.
Yeah, I was told it was under
Communications.
So that's why I asked the
Yeah,
question.
that's different.
It's different. The specific locations fall to us.
Okay.
Signage in general would fall to communications.
So my point to this resident, you just say, I'm sorry.
Yeah, or you can bring it up at Economic Development.
Or you can,
Send
well,
a
at
request.
economic
it's all booked
development,
already.
there's no wiggle room.
No.
The schedule is what it is, but
If
if
you
you
wanna
were
add
going to
one.
add an additional one, that would be a question for communications
Yeah.
and council.
That's right.
Okay, that's
Okay.
well. I just want information, that's all I want.
Thank you, Councilor Ramsey.
You know, I have
Good
no
question.
questions.
Anything else? Do you want to go through the resolution, sir?
Yes, sure.
Number 1?
Moved by Councilor Yankoff, second by Councilor Duffy, that the domestic violence and safety plan policy adopted November 30th, 2018 be replaced with the attached domestic and intimate partner violence policy effective November 8th, 2021.
Questions called. All those in favor, please raise your hand. Councilor Twill, yea or nay?
In favor.
Okay, sir, next one.
Your worship, moved by Councilor Yankoff, second by Councilor Duffy, that the city council accept the amendments to the benefit policy for employees on leave as per the attached document effective November 8th, 2021, your worship.
Question? Questions called. Please raise your hand if you're in favor. Okay. Councillor Twill, yea or nay?
In favor.
Okay, 10-0.
Your worship, moved by Councillor Yankoff, second by Councillor Duffy, that the council accept the scent-free policy as per the attached document effective November 8th, 2021.
Okay, scent-free. Councillor Devon, a question about the scent-free?
Yes, I do, your worship. Thank you. Thank you, Councillor Yankoff, for your report. It's just, you know, I understand what we're trying to accomplish here in a scent-free work environment. You know, if someone comes in with a ton of aftershave or cologne on, I understand that because I'm an asthmatic and it could choke me up as well, right? So I understand that, but I think here we're going down a slippery slope when it says perfume, cologne, deodorant, hair care products, soap, lotions, makeup, laundry detergent, fabric softener, air freshener, cleaning products, and artificially scented. You know, the next thing, you know, people will be smelling, you know, I mean, like, this is not.
An odor issue.
Well, yeah, so I'm not driving in the truck with him because of this. So, I think, you know, I understand what, you know, if a guy comes in with a ton of cologne on, or a lady, but this, I'm just wondering if we could take this back to the committee to eliminate some of this stuff, because you have to wash your clothes and use soap. I'm just wondering if it can go back to the committee. Thank you.
Are you talking about scented soap or unscented? Councillor Yankoff.
Councillor Drawn actually has a really good point, because if we're going to have a scent-free policy, perhaps we do need to address the polar opposite of smelling good and not smelling good. So I think he has a really good
Do you want to defer it?
point to that. And, yeah, I would think that that's probably a really good idea, Councillor Drawn. Thank you. for
Move to
pointing that out.
defer, Councillor
No,
Yankoff.
your worship?
Move to defer?
No,
I
I,
think there's another question.
Yeah, we're watching the flow there, thank you. Councillor Ramsey?
and I was reading that too. In fact, I just recognized it before the whole thing started. I said, what's story in this? Because everything you do now, like, there's a scent to it, right? Like your shampoo, your clothing, your body wash and all that stuff. So all of a sudden, I mean, that's a great point. I mean, you're almost covering too much here.
Okay.
And that's just my opinion.
Councillor Rivera, question?
Thank you, Your Worship. Thank you, Councillor Yankoff, for all the hard work on this, and Bethany. Excessive is all the word I think you need to add to that. Just excessive use of. That way people can still use deodorant.
Yes.
You know, it's okay, so without spraying your body down with Axe, if you will. So I think it's excessive would probably do the trick.
Okay, move to defer. Councillor Yankoff? Second by Councillor McLeod. Discussion.
You just had it.
I believe what he said, it will work.
And does it say anything there about the scent police or scent enforcement? Okay, question? All of those in favor of the deferral? Councillor Twain, yea or nay?
In favor.
Okay.
Your worship, moved by Councillor Yankoff, second by Councillor Duffy, that City Council repeal the attached Employee Assistance Program Policy CHR-8, effective November 8th, 2021. The Employee Assistance Program is an employee benefit, therefore this policy is not applicable.
Yes, sir. Question? Questions called? All those in favor, please raise your hand. Councillor Twill.
In favor.
Your worship, moved by Councillor Yankoff, second by Councillor Duffy, that the City Council repeal the attached Human Resource Records Policy CHR-7, effective November 8th, 2021. Human Resource Records now fall under the city's shell towns records retention and disposal schedule bylaw. Therefore, this policy is no longer applicable.
Question called?
Question called.
Okay. All those in favor, please raise your hand. Councillor Twill.
In favor.
Councillor Yankoff, this morning your new communications coordinator arrived,
She did.
and her name is?
Carly.
Carly. I was gonna say Marley.
Carleen.
Carly.
Very nice person, very,
I
yes.
haven't met her yet.
Yeah. And could I just say that on November 3rd, there was Take Our Kids to Work Day. Bethany, it was a very excellent idea. I'm
Thank
sure
you, Your
those
Worship.
children will remember that for a long time. The fire station tour, police department, went to Public Works. Good feedback from it?
Great feedback, and it was our first year with this program, so we hope to, use some feedback and improve and continue with the program in future years.
And I think Councilor Rivard brought his daughter, Maya?
Fast tracked her right into council meeting.
She can substitute. That's it? Good. Protective Services, Councilor Rivard.
Thank you, Your Worship. Protective and Emergency Services Committee met October 26th, and it's in your package. There are 2 resolutions for consideration tonight. Any questions, I'll be happy to answer, or have the 2 fine gentlemen here answer. And just curious, again, I guess feedback from council on the statistics that we started doing a little differently last month. I'm just wondering if council, sees statistics and how it's being provided as being helpful. And again, if it's not, then please forward the concerns to us so we can make any changes. But if it's useful, then yeah, that's great.
Councilor Yanko, question please.
Thank you, Councilor Rivard, for your report. I know that you and I chatted the other day, and we talked about perhaps extending out the patios that we had put in place in the public works right of way area, as well as city right of way, as well as the extended patios in terms of COVID. And I just wanted to see whether or not, if we decide on a path forward, whether or not we're going to just extend because we're still in COVID, or if we, what your thoughts are on that. I just have had several residents now asking, so I just thought I would bring that, even though I know you already have a plan and we talked about it, and I appreciate that.
Thank you, Councillor Yankoff. Yeah, we can share it with everybody. It's nothing much. I know that talking to our bylaw officer, that there are applications coming in, and we do need to make a decision on this sooner than later. So we will make it to our next committee meeting, and we will forward a recommendation back to council for the next council meeting.
Wonderful, thank you.
Anything else? Questions? Okay. Want to go to the first resolution, Mr. Kelly?
Yes, Your Worship. Moved by Councilor Barrett, seconded by Councilor Ramsey, that the Public Works Manager be authorized to demolish the building located at 103 Bradley Point Road, PID 396200, deemed necessary as by a city building inspector, and also remove any other materials, debris to clean up the property, dispose of the same, and to do any infilling required to return the property at 103 Bradley Point Road, PID 396200, to its original safe state at the owner's expense in accordance with the terms of the Dangerous Hazardous and Unsightly Bylaw of the City of Charlottetown.
Councillor Durone, I know you want to speak to this issue.
Yes, Your Worship. Thank you very much. This is located in Ward 6 in Bradley Point Road. Received dozens of phone calls and emails about this house. It's been in disrepair for the last number of months, and finally the chimney fell into the roof and collapsed the roof. So there's concerns about children trying to get into the house, wildlife there. I called the police on a number of occasions, and as always, they went right over and checked it out, and the kids took off, and then the officer called me back to confirm that they did check it out, which was terrific. The neighbors took some ladders that were in the backyard because the kids were trying to get into it. So, our bylaw officer's been working with the owner and the residents very diligently, and he told me it's a process that you have to do. This has to go through council with our approval. The city come in and knock it down and get rid of it. So I ask for your wisdom tonight, council, to approve this, and let's rid the safety concern. Thank you.
It's in desperate, it's in a bad condition, and big thanks to the bylaw enforcement officer, as Councillor Duran said, working with the owner and the neighbors, and this is the conclusion of it, and well done.
Okay, questions go.
Please raise your hand if you're in favor. Councillor Twill.
In favor.
Thank you.
Your Worship, moved by Councilor Barrett, seconded by Councilor Ramsey, that the Public Works Manager be authorized to remove any garbage and other materials or debris, clean up and properly dispose of same at the owner's expense at the following properties located at 96 Upper Prince Street, PID 360404, and 57 Eden Street, PID 368993, in accordance with the terms of the dangerous, hazardous, unsightly bylaw of the city of Charlottetown.
Do you have a question there, Councillor McLeod?
Thank you very much. Just on 57 Eden Street, so like, is that an apartment building?
It's a good question.
57. I think it's a I'm not 100% sure about that.
Well, it looks like it. I just looked it up.
It's in Ward 4. Ask Councillor Twill.
Yeah, maybe
Councillor Twill, is it an apartment building or a duplex?
I believe it's a duplex. I'm not sure of the number. I'd have to defer that to the bylaw enforcement officer.
It's an apartment building.
It is an apartment. I'm just wondering, have we done many of this before, where we're getting into doing apartment buildings?
If there's problems with garbage or debris, we have been involved before, yes.
Yes.
Well, okay, good. Thank you very much.
Question called?
Questions, Councillor?
All those in favor, please put up your hand. Councillor Twill, yea or nay?
In favor.
Okay. Councillor Byrne, do you want to wrap up there?
Yeah, you were just,
Thank you.
thank you. Just one other thing I just want to point out. So, thank you to the councillors that were able to attend the swearing-in ceremony last month. It was very successful. Chief did a great job organizing, and we're pretty proud to have the 7 new officers. Hopefully they're working out great so far. And it was a nice ceremony, and again, just extended congratulations, if you will, to those officers and their families. And again, thanks to council for coming out this morning.
Thank you. That's it, sir?
That's it.
Okay, thank you, Chief. Thank you very much.
Thank you, gentlemen.
Council Advisory Committee, Councillor Yankoff.
Thank you, Your Worship.
Your resolution.
I do have a resolution. We met on November the 2nd. The open draft minutes are in your package. And we have one resolution for your consideration. And I can do my best to answer. And really what this is it's for the FCM additional appointment that in the past, Councillor Twill was the provincial rep as well as the rep for the city of Charlottetown. And so now we have Councillor Twill representing the municipality and Councillor Duffy representing the province. We only have one vote, so in the past we've always combined that with just one councillor. So I've spoken with Councillor Twill and he has advised that he is quite willing to and interested in taking a step back from that role before and passing on the gauntlet to Councillor Duffy. So that's what we're here to decide.
Okay. Councillor, maybe we should put the resolution on the floor first. Put the resolution on the floor.
Your Worship, moved by Councillor Yankoff, second by Councillor McLeod, that the City Council appoint Councillor Mike Duffy as the city's representative on the Federation of PEI Municipalities Board of Directors.
Okay. Do you have a question there, Councillor Durant?
Yes, thank you for your report, Councillor Yankoff. I'm just wondering, due to Councillor Duffy's severe health concerns, he can't chair a committee meeting. I don't want him to feel obligated to take on extra workload here. And I'm just asking if all council were asked to see if they would like to join this board.
Councillor Yankoff?
I can defer that to Mr. Kelly. Great question.
Yeah. But just
the standards before, the setup before was Councillor Twill took on both. So when we discovered that it's still just one vote, it was Mr. Duffy said that he would be fine with it. Councillor Twill didn't want to proceed, but I mean, that's up to council's decision. If they want to put that out to all the council, I can't speak for that.
Councillor Ramsey and Councillor Duffy.
Did we not, thank you, Councillor Yankoff, did we not appoint Councillor Duffy last year to this?
No.
That was for the FCM for the 2 years after Councillor Twill, that is correct. But for this board, Councillor Twill was there, and Councillor Twill has indicated he's prepared to step back from the board to allow Councillor Duffy, I believe, Madam Chair, to take the seat to be able to vote, if I recall correctly.
So just to clarify, Councillor Yankoff, we couldn't keep 2 people there with 2 votes. FCM and FPEIM is just 1 vote.
Yeah, like
okay.
the provincial rep does not have a vote. The provincial is.
On the FCM.
On the FCM.
Okay.
They are there for information basis only.
Thank you. Yeah. Thank you, Councillor Yanko. Councillor Duffy and Councillor
Thank you,
Bernard.
Worship. Yes, in regard to Councillor Durand's comments, I did ask initially that I wish someone else would take it. I don't want to appear to be the bully on the block, trying to take over a monopoly of something or other, I don't know. So I would suggest to Councillor Durand, maybe he would like to be the city council representative. I am the
FCM.
national representative of the province PEI. We need somebody from Charlotte City Council, and I'm sure Councillor Durand would do an excellent job. So we can scratch out the resolution and put another name in.
Could we just come back? Councillor Bernard.
Thank you. It's something that's been on my mind for a while. I think tonight's probably a good example. I think council should consider a lot of the recommendations when it has individuals' names attached to it, that probably should go to a special meeting for discussion before it comes into the open floor. We can talk to those people. Probably wouldn't hurt to have the recommendations go to a special meeting. And then from the special meeting, we can move it on to council. But at least you're not talking about somebody's health issues, you're not talking about reasons why you don't think something should be on certain advisory committees.
Are you meaning like council as a whole, like a?
Special meeting,
session?
yeah.
Councillor McLeod and then Councillor Durand. Did you want to?
No, I was
Fine.
going to say, I think now that what Terry, Councilman had said, I'm good. Thank you.
Councillor Durand.
Yeah, that's a great idea. I just wanted to be fair, to let everybody else get an opportunity to sit on this board if they so wish.
Okay, so you want to
that's all
defer
I'm
it?
looking for, help Mr. Duffy out. Thank you very much.
Sure.
Will be deferred?
No, well, why don't we take my name off if Councillor Durand's on?
You want to put your name on, Councillor?
No, I want all of council to get an opportunity, if they would like to apply for the position, instead of just giving it to one person. That's what I'm looking for.
Councillor Yankoff, make the call on it.
Thank you, Councillor Durand. So perhaps we can have a motion to defer this back to council advisory, and in the meantime, we could ask Mr. Kelly to send an email out to all of council.
Correct.
And see who might be interested in taking that on. So we'll have a list of names for the next council advisory meeting. How does that sound?
Good.
That'd be terrific.
Councillor Yankoff, moved by Councillor Yankoff, second by Councillor McLeod.
Yep.
So it's deferred until it goes back to CAC, correct? Question? All those in favor, please put up your hand. Councillor Twail.
In favor.
Okay. Anything else, Councillor?
That's great.
Thank you very much. Councillor Terry Bernard. Your worship, I think you're next. Oh, yeah.
Thank you, Richard.
Thank you, sir.
Parks and Recreation Leader Committee, your worship, met on November the 1st. Copy of the minutes available in the package. Our Senior Engagement Committee also met on October 7th. There are no resolutions in the package this evening for consideration, worship, but a couple of highlights I'd like to let council know. As you see in the minutes, staff has completed a draft naming policy and application form for those who are wishing to apply to name a city asset after a deserving person or individual. The policy application form will deal with the potential naming of streets, parks, buildings, etc. that will be will set out the criteria for naming or renaming a city asset. So when someone wants to come in and get an application, there's the criteria to fill out. We believe the policy, your worship, should be administered through the Communications Division of the Human Resource Department, and so they'll filter the applications. They'll help anyone if they need any help on filling it out, going through the criteria. And if the application meets the criteria, the Comms Division will forward the request to the Standing Committee where that asset lies. So if it's a street name, it's going to Public Works Committee. If it's a park or park amenities, it's going to the Parks Recreation Committee. If it's a building, it's going to the Finance Committee. And they could make a recommendation, Your Worship, and we were recommending also that that recommendation will come to a special meeting where council can discuss it. And then everything's copacetic, then you can go into a resolution public forum. Okay? So, Your Worship, right now, we forwarded that policy off to the Human Resource Committee for their comments and before a resolution comes to council on the new policy.
Okay, sir.
And also, Your Worship, and I understand you were here too, the seniors workshop that occurred November 1st, 3rd, and 4th of the month went over very well. In all the sessions, there was over 80 people in attendance in the 3 workshops, and so far, as of this afternoon, you worship 200 online survey results. So those survey results will remain open until November the 20th, so if there's other people who still want to make comment on ways to make Sherrilltown a more age-friendly community, they can certainly leave their comments until November 20th. So the consultants that were hired, Your Worship, by the Volume 18 with this project will be completing a report identifying goals to help make our city more age-friendly, some targets that we can go after. And when that's done, we'll certainly share it with all council. So, Your Worship, the other thing is you'll see the 21 capital projects. You'll see the staff have been quite busy. There's a lot of tenders that were done throughout the year here, a lot of projects that are completed or getting close to completion. So the list is there. Simmons Arena replacement, we have been going through, as I said before, we've been listening to the feedback. We are making some substantial changes. The most substantial would be moving the track to the 2nd level. So of course there's a lot of changes that have to be made in the architectural design for that. They're coming down to, I believe we're expecting to have that within the next couple of weeks. So we're looking forward to that. From what I've seen, it looks beautiful. It's going to be a very nice facility. There'll be lots of seating. So yeah, it's going to be a very nice facility when it's done. Other than that, Your Worship, if there's any questions, I will do my best to answer.
Okay. Councillor Duffy, Councillor Yankoff.
Thank you, Your Worship. Thank you, Councillor Bernard, for your report. On the last page of your report, Councillor Bernard, it states the mayor asked about the possibility of putting a boardwalk pathway from the Auburn Arsenal building, that is, the building there, to the Terry Fox Run Drive. The program, the recreational manager noted the province owns the land in question, and further that he has had discussions with his provincial contact on this request. It sounds like a good idea, but there already is a boardwalk that goes up. It leaves Terry Fox Run Drive. It goes up, kind of going towards the backyard of the Lieutenant Governor's place, and then it gets so far up, and it branches off and goes over and does pass through the gate you go up to go to the Lieutenant Governor's place, and the other branch takes you over to the Auburn Arsenal building. So there is a pathway for the provincial employees to go from the provincial government building to that Auburn Arsenal building without the unpleasant, grass or mud to go through. Where it would work, though, Councillor Bernard, is there is a place for, and I'm not talking a wide boardwalk like we have in Victoria Park, but what's presently there is a footpath.
That's what I was talking about.
Okay.
I think that got mixed up. But
Okay.
That's what I'm.
Okay.
It's from the end of Ambrose.
Yeah,
Yeah,
it
keep
comes
going.
from Ambrose over to the foot of Fitzroy Street, and it's only a footpath, and it's used a lot by people going to work in the provincial government building, or the people going downtown to shop or work downtown. The problem is rainy days or a heavy dew or whatever, especially for the ladies, they're not going to wear their boots through the mud and whatever. A small boardwalk, and they've asked for years about it. Not a fence, just maybe 6 or 8 feet, with maybe a bit of lighting would be ideal, because it is very, on the fine days anyway. So I appreciate that.
Thank you.
Okay.
Go ahead, there's.
Thank you.
Well, thank you.
No, but I've been dealing with this in Ward 3 for a long time.
I know what you're talking about now. That's kind of the crosswalk. I think
Yes.
it's Greenfield Drive, it's on the opposite side.
Ambrose.
Ambrose. Okay. And I did have seen the pathway. Yeah, great idea.
Okay, thank you.
The only thing that we need permission from the provincial government to be able to use their property to put that in.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor Duffy, for that clarification. Councillor Yankoff, I missed Councillor McCabe. She was before you. Councillor McCabe.
Mine was just a comment I was going to comment on the Seniors Engagement Workshop. I had the opportunity to take part in the one that was held at the Alpha Center, and the facilitators did a phenomenal job. The information that they gathered was really good. I'm really hoping that we actually take some of their their suggestions, and we're able to implement that through the strategic plan that I know we're gonna get someday here in the city. So just thank you to Brianne and the staff in Parks and Rec for putting that out there, so.
Yeah, no, that's, and thank you for that. I know Heather McCauley is the one that's been involved in that team, and
Yes.
she's been doing a great job. I understand a lot of the comments, whether it's transit, whether it's transportation, a lot of the comments that we can possibly tackle and make sure it's right. Thank you.
And Heather McCauley and Christina McLeod, excellent facility. Councillor Yankoff.
Just once again to echo what Councillor McCabe had said, I attended the information session at Blanchard Hall.
Yeah.
And Christina McLeod facilitated that one. And again, the information that was gathered and the sharing of suggestions was so well done and so informative. And, I appreciate Parks and Rec for putting all that together, and the Seniors Engagement Committee. It was really, really good.
And big thanks to Carolyn Blubber.
Yeah.
Yes, absolutely. And the coffee was really good too.
That's good. One of the things that I find is we don't really realize, I guess, what crosses other people have to bear, and sometimes in these conversations you come up with some ideas of things that you don't even think of. Like, for example, one of the ones that came out was if I'm a senior living by myself and I have a doctor's appointment, but I need to get a drive back, or I need to get a drive there, and whatever treatment I'm getting, I can't drive. And so there's things I never even think of, but how do I get down there? How do I get back? Can we put together a seniors list that some seniors don't mind driving and volunteers don't mind driving? There's some things that come out of it that I think would be be looking forward to the city to tackle them, and there's things we don't think of.
And they're cost
It's
friendly.
great to have this forum.
Cost friendly, doable. I said some of these ideas are cost friendly and they're doable.
Yeah. So, every little bit helps, and like I say, until they come out and give our comments, and I'm looking forward to seeing the other 200 plus comments to see what they have to say. But I do think that at the end of the day, we'll be able to come up with a strategy that will make Charlottetown a more age-friendly city.
And one of the comments that Councillor Yankoff and Councillor McCabe that came out of it was that seniors, is Christmas senior social, they please get rid of that, call it a Charlottetown tea and social, so you can bring out young people, newcomers, so there's a intergenerational, mixed generational meeting. It was a great idea. So we changed it. It's not going to be a seniors Christmas, it's going to be Charlottetown Christmas tea and social. Councillor McLeod.
Thank you very much, Bishop. Thank you, Councillor Bernard, for your report. Just, I know it's really doesn't fall on the Parks and Rec, I guess, but any communication with the Charlottetown Curling Club? Anything new to report there? Just I thought I'd ask.
Nothing I'm aware of.
No, nothing at all.
Just that, they've been having a meeting with Belvedere Golf Course. I know they've had at least 2, if not 3, so that's been over the summer. Don't have a lot of feedback just yet, so I assume that, I'm not really sure how it's going, to be honest. I was at two of the meetings. I know they were looking to apply through some of the ISO funding, the grant. I know that when we were talking to them, we had asked them to apply for ISO funding before the end of April. Now they did, and that may be because they had already applied at Stratford. So other than that, they were working back and forth with Belvedere, because Belvedere was looking to renovate, so the possibility of intervening was working the two of them together. So they were having a consultation.
Good.
And they're putting up the fence at the Charlottetown Curling Club.
I see that. But the reason I'm asking is Stratford seems to be quite comfortable in having them over there, and I just thought, does the council here of Charlottetown have any appetite to stay engaged and to say, have another meeting or two with them just to see where they're at? Because it's a shame that that the city capital doesn't have a curling rink. So I just thought, and it's great, for young folks. It's a great sport for after school programs and things like that. And I'd hate to see it in the city, but
I think
point.
All along when we've been discussing whether this was an option, and they had been talking to me before they came to us.
Yes.
And so it kind of broke off. So we got them back together, and so we're waiting to see how that goes. So I mean, we haven't, what do they call it? Broken any bridges or whatever.
Burn any bridges.
Yeah, I'm assuming that doesn't work.
But Stratford has listed the Stratford Curling Club as one of the priorities on their website. So that's, yeah. Okay, thank you, Councillor Bernard. Moving on, Public Works, Council. Oh, water and sewer, jeez, I missed you there, Councillor Brown. I missed the report. Thanks, Frank.
Mr. Ely.
Thank you, Your Worship. Water and Sewer Utility Committee met on November 4th, and the minutes from that meeting are included in the package. You have one resolution for your consideration tonight, and our manager would like me to stress that e-billing is now up this month to 1,120 people, which is a great savings to the city corporation, and hopefully we'll put that in our budget and be able to keep down our taxes this year. But thank you very much. If any questions, I'll try to answer them as best I can.
Keep down the rates.
Yes.
Any questions? We have a resolution, Mr.
Yes, Your Worship. Moved by Councillor Drawn, and seconded by Councillor Twill. Whereas the City of Charlottetown passed a policy resolution on April 10th, 2000, that the City Council confirm its policy not to entertain applications for water service to properties outside the municipal boundary of the City of Charlottetown without first receiving approval from the City Council to do so, and that City Council approved the request for service received from Susan Turner for water service to 467 Brackley Point Road, PID 640011, and that the costs associated with the development or any future services be paid by the property owner, and further that the services be billed with a 25% premium as a surcharge for services provided outside the City of Charlottetown municipal boundary.
Questions called? All those in favor, please raise your hand. Councillor Twill, yea or nay?
In favor.
Okay. Come on, Councillor.
No, that's it, Your Worship.
Thank you, Councillor Ron. Next report, Councillor Twill, McLeod.
Thank you very much, Your Worship. Public Works and Urban Beautification Committee met on October 27th with draft minutes included in the package. The Civic Board of Persons with Disabilities met on October 12th, I believe it is, and the draft minutes are included in the regular monthly package, and I have one resolution to put forward. And just a note of mention, Scott Adams is back, so welcome aboard again.
Chief Engineer's back.
And I would like to give a thank you out to Albert Gashi, project engineer, who stepped up to do Scott's work. And also Joey McKinnon, who's been getting some press and
Good Samaritan.
Right?
And Clyde Pickles.
Yeah, so they did some goodwill stuff, and it's good to see our employees and the city getting some good recognition. That's it for me, thank you.
Did you want to add something, Councillor?
You want to ask something? Yes, that's why
Oh, it's great to be back. Go ahead.
There's something going on here.
Oh, yeah, no,
Okay.
go on for a few weeks.
That's okay, we always love when you come back. Thank you for your report, Councilor McLeod. Welcome back, Scott. And you might not, I'm going to go through the chair for this question. We've been inundated this weekend with multiple emails, which is great for us all to know who's concerned and when people want certain infrastructure installed. And you know, it's a great way to get that out and let people know. And I know that you have been working on a master plan for infrastructure around sidewalk and AT installation. And I guess I'm just wondering if, when we can expect to see kind of an update or a hard copy of what that might look like. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Councilor McCabe. A great question. And I probably will, Scott, if you feel comfortable enough to answer that.
Defer to the chief engineer. Defer to the chief engineer. Can you answer Councilor McCabe's question there,
Absolutely,
chief engineer?
your worship. So today, I guess, first day back, as everyone knows. Today we're starting to look at our capital budget program, as every department is starting to look at those now. So what we are working on is trying to finalize the 5-year plan for the sidewalk and multi-use pathway as part of the larger plan. And we hope to have a draft version to next committee meeting, which I believe is in 1 week or 2 weeks time. So we hope that is be the goal when it be there.
Okay, perfect.
Follow up, Councilor
Thank you
McCabe.
very much. And is there kind of criteria that you guys have set in place that when you're determining where you're going to place these sidewalks and infrastructures?
Your worship, yes, that's correct. So we're looking at a few key concern areas. We're looking at areas that we have kind of sidewalks and nowhere, and there's a kind of a gap, and we know we have a lot of traffic and a lot of pedestrians. We're trying to fill those gaps. School zones, high traffic areas, so we're trying to fill, or high speed areas, so we're trying to fill those gaps first. You know, those residential streets that, you know, maybe have 20 homes. Will it get a sidewalk at some point? Again, up to council at some point in time when we go to a capital budget. But we're making those lower priorities because we're trying to check off those higher areas, you know, finishing those connection points and those higher areas of traffic and speeds.
Okay, no, that's great.
I know your hand's not up, Councilor Craig, but no other question? Another
No,
question?
thanks,
Okay.
thanks.
Councilor Bird, questions?
Yes, thank you, Worship. Thank you for your report, Councillor McLeod. I'm just reading in here about the Canada Post mailbox. I see that the committee had discussion, reached out to Canada Post. Canada Post, if I'm correct, pays for snow clearing for the mailboxes, but there seems to be reluctance to pay for paving, according to this, and, you know, maintenance, if you will, for the summer. I mean, I don't know how many times I've come by these mailboxes and there's weeds that are 4 feet high. It looks terrible. And again, in the springtime, when it's nothing but mud, it's, you know, it's just a real pain. And then of course you see some paved and you see others not paved. So I'm hoping that, again, you know, that the feds do step up and they do give some money. I don't know if it's cost sharing or whatever, but to fix it, consistency throughout the city, make it a little easier to, you know, have access to your mailbox without, like I said, jumping into a foot to two of mud.
Do you want to respond, Councilor?
Thank you very much. So in our meeting, yeah, we had a great discussion, and of course, probably our Canada Post are quite ready to have us do all the paving. But anyway, what come out of that meeting is we're going to approach our federal counterparts and have a sit down and try and solve it so that you know, it's not the city's responsibility; it's theirs. And the mayor and myself, we plan on having a visitation.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Councilor Brown?
Just on that, if you're going to have that conversation, please have a conversation with them on cleaning them out, shoveling them out in due time. Some of them get left pretty late. We have seniors that are trying to find more repair than one of the comments that came from the students.
And one of the comments you made, Councilor Bird, was
What's that?
about
Well,
sightliness?
Yeah, but you also want to talk about the, like I said, the grass growing around these mailboxes. I mean, like I said, I've gone up and taken my own sniffer on many occasions at the ward, just kind of as a good Samaritan. It looks awful. But it'd be nice, like I said, if there was some monies, again, available for city staff to be able to go and do that. It's not a big job, and it seems that sometimes the city will cut around it almost. And again, I know it's not their jurisdiction, but if we're there, it makes them cut it.
Okay. Any other questions?
Yeah, I have a question.
Oh, Councilor Twill, Ward 4.
Thank you. Yes. Thank you, Councilor McLeod, for your report. Recently, I met with the executive director for the Boys and Girls Club, where he's correspondent with the city regarding crossing St. Peter's Road. With the excessive amount of traffic in St. Peter's Road, probably one of the busiest streets in the city of Charlottetown. As you know, Public Works has made some modifications to trying to alert the vehicle traffic from crossing St. Peter's Road. However, the work that's been done, you know, I think it's a start in the right direction. I just don't think we're there yet. One of the recommendations that the gentleman has recommended, and we discussed it, I believe, about a year ago, is putting in the flashing lights that you would experience down at the 1911 jail when you're crossing St. Peter's Road at that interval. So I just wanted to bring that forward, that it is a high traffic volume area. The overhead crosswalk light, that's archaic. It's been there for about 40 years, like a lot of them throughout the city. They're not lit, and they're totally ineffective. I believe that flashing lights at this intersection, St. Peter's Road, would make it much safer for parents and for children and younger teens trying to access the Boys and Girls Club. So hope you'll take that under advisement, and I believe it's a good recommendation.
Councilor McLeod?
Thank you very much for your questioning, Councilor Field, on the Boys and Girls Club. The mayor himself also had a visit there.
You had a meeting
recently, and I have been talking to him as well, and the first phase of what we decided to do was to bring the sidewalks out like we have at the radio station on Great George, and it is very successful. There still seems to be a lighting issue, and also discussed that the idea of what's happening down at the trails is a major project that the city of Charlotte could not afford to start doing at every sidewalk or crosswalk. But there is a pole across the street which could entertain a maritime electric light and brighten that up. It is a little on the dark side, and I think that's what I'm going to bring up to the Public Works in 2 weeks' time, Councillor Twill, when we meet. But his concerns are definitely not being forgotten. Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor McLeod. Part of the resolution, sir?
Yes, Your Worship. Moved by Councillor McLeod, second by Councillor Duffy, that as per the conditions of the tender on Fitzroy Street old-fashioned lighting installation, the submission of Hanson Electric in the amount of $118,530 plus all applicable taxes be accepted, and further that the amount of $83,000 be transferred from the capital account traffic and pedestrian signals smart intersection upgrades to street lighting old-fashioned LED conversions to complete the work.
Councillor Duran, Councillor Bernard, did you have?
I did.
Yeah. Councillor Yankoff, Councillor Bernard, Councillor McCabe, and Councillor Duffy. In that order. And please remember it, because I did,
Thank
or
you
I
very
won't.
much,
Go ahead, sir.
Councillor McLeod, for your report. I'm just wondering about this tender here. It's almost triple of what we allotted for it, and to take it out of the traffic and pedestrian signals, I'm just wondering, is the reason the time of year that we're putting this tender out? Could it be delayed maybe into the spring? It's just for 9 old-fashioned lights, and it's a lot of money. I'm just wondering, has any consideration been to that effect?
Thank you very much, Councillor Duran. I think you're going to hear a few questions raised here. On this one, it was discussed at the Public Works meeting that we weren't too keen on taking the money from there, but from street lighting, we had CNID in here not too long ago, and we're talking about upgrades and intersections and things, and now we're going to take money away from there. So it really wasn't a great idea, but at the same time, staff had presented that this was a necessary thing. But Scott, you might want to share a little more light on that. But no pun intended. But anyway, it is a lot of money, and I think there's some debate have to be done. Thank you.
Mr. Adams, do you want to add any wisdom to
Your
conversation?
Worship. So originally the $50,000 budget was to start converting, continue converting some of our existing old fashions to LED. Since the capital budget came, we had received no requests from the public, various groups, that this area of downtown, Fitzroy Street, we have lighting up to the intersection of Rochford, and then it's pretty dark all the way to Terry Fox Drive. And there are a number of individuals trying to get to Victoria Park, go for walks, evening walks, especially this time of day, and they did not feel comfortable walking there because of the lighting. And the number of issues are, it's just, there are a few utility poles that we could put street lights on that there already are on, but just because of the trees and everything in that nature in the area, it's still very dark at nighttime. So we felt it was this was a worthwhile area to put this investment in to improve the street lighting in this area, to make it safer for users in the downtown area trying to get to and from residential area to Victoria Park. As for the cost, when we talked to the consultant, where they said, looking at the submissions from, we compared this to last year's tender that we did on Queen Street. And the biggest cost increase was materials. Well, materials for pretty much everything is up this year, and that's one of the biggest issues. It's just material costs are up, especially for the lighting and LED fixtures. So that's where a lot of the increase came from this year. Do we know if it's going to go down or price is going to stay? We don't know at this time. While it does seem like a lot of money, it is a safety factor in this area for pedestrians around downtown. We do have lots of walkers, and so we did recommend to proceed with it, as we do have concerns. Yeah.
Queen Street was done in 2019, Northbridge Parkway was done in 2020.
That's correct, sorry, yeah.
Councillor Rivard,
So that answered probably most of my questions. Thanks.
good. Councillor Yankoff.
Although I would like to go next, Councillor Duffy has hand up for me.
And will you defer to Councillor Duffy? Councillor Duffy, go ahead.
Well, thank you, Councilor.
You're very nice.
Thank you very much. That's very nice of you. I owe you a coffee.
No, you're a revolt.
Your worship, I would like to see this resolution referred back to the Public Works Committee. You and I had a discussion, and Councillor Yankoff and Councillor McLeod, like it's $136,000. There is, when we come down, and I'll make this fact, when we come down Fitzroy Street, we stop at Rochford Street, then we're on to the lower part of Fitzroy. The first light you'll see is a Maritime Electric pole, the LED light. And then you don't see any lights right down to Terry Fox. My contention is, and I'd like to speak to our committee again about it, that Maritime Electric, I'm led to believe, for $1,000 a pole, will put the pole up with the light on it, and we pay less than $12 a month for the electricity that goes into that. But we're going to pay for electricity no matter what kind it is. That's a functional area down there for cars coming and going, parking in the provincial government parking lot, going into the garage and that. They've already started with Maritime Electric lights. So for $3,000, which would be 3 different lights, will take you to Terry Fox, it'd be well lit. Lighting is the problem. It's not cured by only decorative lights. It's even more successfully cured, or addressed, I should say, with the Maritime Electric LED lights. That will give safety to the people, and that's what we want. It's not a place for decoration, and for a difference of $133,000, like, that's a lot of cash.
You want to defer?
I just want to defer it back.
Okay, so you're moving deferral?
Yeah.
Second deferral? Yeah. Okay, can we speak? There's a deferral on the floor. Can we speak to deferral? Councillor Yankoff, Councillor Bernard, then Councillor McKay.
I'm just in support of Councillor Duffy's thoughts. And I will definitely be supporting the deferral and the idea to just commission Maritime Electric to put in and address the safety issues, which are it is dark down there. And yeah, that's what I got to say.
Councillor Bernard?
Thank you.
On the deferral?
Yeah, we're on deferral now, so anyway. Just wanted to say, Your Worship, you're right. October last year, 2020, we did pass a resolution for old-fashioned entrance in Hillsborough Park.
They look great.
Seemed to be a discussion. Well, there's quite a battle.
Yeah.
People were concerned about the cost.
Yeah. It was budgeted for $50,000. We committed 104, right?
Well, this one ends up being $15,000 a light. If the 136 is right, it's 118. The resolution says it's 13,000. But so my understanding, don't get me wrong, I like the old-fashioned lanterns. I think they're great, and I support putting them in. This particular location, though, so they come down to the end of Fitzroy Street where it meets Richmond, and you go across Richmond Street. I think there's 3 houses where there's a pole light right there, lighting up the 3. Then when you go by that, where the I think the lift station or whatever, it does get dark. And I would think that as a city, we'd probably put up 1 or 2 pole lights there. There's no houses there. I mean, the public usually put those old-fashioned lanterns in an area that the public are going to enjoy. I don't know, is Terry Fox lit up with old-fashioned lanterns?
No, it's dark. It's very dark.
To me, that's where you would move to the old-fashioned lanterns, is go along Terry Fox.
But that's where they're going.
So this section, Your
This
Worship,
section's
is...
going down.
Fitzroy or Terry Fox?
It's going down Fitzroy, and we'll do 2 on Terry Fox up to the intersection.
It's down in the middle of nowhere. To spend that kind of money, $13,000 per lantern in the middle of nowhere. So I think I agree with the deferral. I think there's better places to spend the money. I don't, like I said, I don't disagree with putting all fast lanterns. I think there's a better place to go.
Thank you. Councillor McKay. On the deferral.
I'm good with the deferral too. I'm concerned that we just had a big presentation from CNID that we know our intersections and our lighting is poor. So to take $84,000 from that budget to move towards decorative lighting is my concern. I would rather see us still pay attention to the fact that we need to upgrade our existing intersections in the city.
But the total capital budget is not affected. We're not doing a lot of projects, right, Councillor? Mr. Adams, some projects like Beach Grove's not being done. The multi-use pathway down to the Joe Gaze Barracks not being done. Anyways, Councilor McLeod, do you want to furnish?
Thank you very much. Thank you very much. I will agree with Councilor Duran, I agree with Councilor Duffy.
You agree with Mr. Kelly?
And,
okay.
And, but I think maybe by deferring it and revamping where the lanterns go on Terry Fox, the idea of the lighting on the rest of Fitzroy, and then with Councilor Duran's point is, for next year, we probably will get some better pricing anyway than what we've done this year with the revamping of the lantern lights. I think that's a good idea, folks. Thank you.
Councilor Graham, did you call the question?
I'm ready to get right now, your worship.
Question on the front, please raise your hand. Councilor Tweedy, yea or nay for the deferral?
In favor.
Okay. Is that it, sir?
That concludes my report.
Thank you, Councilor Clem. Thank you. Economic development, tourism, events management.
Yes.
Councilor McCabe and the team.
And the team, thank you. The Economic Development, Tourism and Event Management Committee met on October 20th. The open draft minutes are in your package. The Arts Advisory Board met on the 26th of October. The minutes are also in your package. To give you a little update, the Charlottetown Arts and Culture Awards were handed out during a ceremony on October 25th at Trailside Music Hall. Congratulations to this year's winners, Julie Bull, Aaron Hostelo, Ghislaine Cormier, and David Andrew Stewart. It was a great event. Staff did wonderful. Staff participated in the Tourism Industry Association of PEI's annual conference in AGM last week. The Tourism Industry Association of Canada's National Tourism Congress will take place later this month. The Canadian Capital Cities Organization will host the next installment of its virtual speaker series on November 23rd. It will focus on the capital city's role in remembrance. If you are interested, please let Laurel know prior to the 20th. Charlottetown has officially been announced as the host of the 2024 East Coast Music Awards Festival and Conference, a 5-day event which is recognized amongst music industry professionals as being on par with the Junos and the Canadian Country Music Awards, will bring millions of dollars in economic and tourism impact to host destination. Last month, the Atlantic Mayors Congress and Economic Development Summit were a resounding success. Kudos to the staff for the hard work that they did. How many mayors were here?
We had 27 mayors and FCM, and then there was also the Economic Summit, Economic Development Summit. How many were there? 15. 15.
Excellent.
So it was a big crowd. It's good.
Last month, I already said that, staff have been working closely with Innovation PEI and have been participating in a number of economic-based sessions presented by organizations such as Invest in Canada and Global Affairs Canada. They're also busy planning the new Physicians Welcome, which will be held here at City Hall on December 7th. The Charlottetown Christmas Parade presents Santa Claus Comes to Town once again, and will spread Christmas cheer throughout the neighborhoods across the city. This event will run from the 22nd to the 27th. Any councillor that would like to take part and be on the fire truck, please let Laurel know by this week. Also, mark your calendars for the return of the highly anticipated Charlottetown Christmas Festival, which runs November 12th to December 19th, and the Wintertide Holiday Festival running from November 22nd to January 9th. Obviously tired and sorry about those dates. Any questions? I'll do my best to answer, and Laurel and Wayne are both here.
Great report, Councilor.
Thanks.
Great report.
Thanks.
Any questions? Councilor Acuff.
Thank you. Okay. And I actually don't even think this falls under your department. Might be new business, but I'm going to ask it anyway.
Go ahead.
There hasn't been anything out there. I assume our Remembrance Day service is curtailed to COVID again like last year. And
It's restricted.
I'm pretty sure Laurel already told me this does not fall under your committee, but I'm just putting it out there to you.
Your worship, Remembrance Day doesn't fall under our committee, but the Remembrance Day ceremony is happening at the Cenotaph. CPHO has issued a statement recently with respect to saying that it is open like it has been in the past, asking people to respect the protocols. That event is organized directly by the Legion itself.
And speaking to the Legion, Councilor Yanka, There'll be 9 wreaths laid by the governor, lieutenant governor, the MP.
So the public can attend this?
They can, it's an
As
open.
long as it's 6 feet apart.
It's an open event, yeah.
Great, thank you.
And just one thing about the Atlantic Mayors Congress, Councillor McCabe. Mike Cassidy gave the speech at our dinner and did an excellent job and really hammered the point on the need for more federal funding for a maritime transit system, integrated with a local transit system. It was an excellent speech, and I wanted to thank Mike Cassidy for providing his time for your church. Any other questions? Well, that's great. New business? None? Motion to adjourn. Thank you very much. Thank you, Deputy.